朝でございます。東京8月。さあ、朝ごはんを作っていくわよ。
Meet Saikyo-Chan. At first glance, she appears to be just another content creator seeking attention in the crowded digital space. But look closer, and you'll find a tale that blends elements of tragedy, dark humor, and social commentary in ways that both fascinate and horrify viewers around the world. Looking at her cringe-worthy videos, chaotic cooking sessions, and unkempt appearances, no one would believe that this woman, a famous TikToker with over 300,000 followers, is an adult woman because her behavior suggests otherwise. Her content exists in a bizarre gray area between performance art and cry for help, leaving viewers perpetually uncertain whether to laugh, cry, or call social services.
どうしよう。こぼしちゃった。パスタ完成したやつ。これ食べ終わったやつだけどね。拾って食べたんよ、私。パスタンタン。落としたパスタンタンを拾って食べたんタンタンした。ねえ、やばくないそれ寝る場所がここしかないのにさ、どうしよう。今日寝る場所がね。困ったクマね。これどこで寝るクマ？これいつもここで寝てるんクマね。てか、ここしか寝る場所ないクマよね。どうするクマ？お風呂場で寝るクマ？それとも、どうする？ミートバスで寝るクマ？もう、で、バスタブしか寝る場所ないクマね。で、カフェに泊まりたいです。そんなお金あるクマ？大丈夫クマ？カプセルとかさ、ビジフォーとかにしようかな。お金大丈夫クマ？なんかじいちゃんたちも集まってるクマよ。じいちゃんたちいっぱい来ちゃってるクマね。テーマの匂いで。ほんで、あとこれ、どうするクマ？自然乾燥で今日の夜まで乾くクマかね。ね、なんか脱水機とかないクマしね。とりあえずね、これね、時間経ってからでもいいから片付けた方がいいクマよ。今暑いから冷ましてるの分かったクマ？後でいいから片付けるクマ分かった？はい、よろしいクマ。
She's made a name for herself with bizarre TikTok videos where she makes food in a roach-infested apartment, dances in public with eviction notices attached to her body, and showcases her utterly filthy living environment. It's like watching a reality show where the production team forgot to intervene. Except there is no production team, just a woman with a smartphone and an apparent immunity to both shame and health codes. Despite these unsettling actions, it's not just her behavior and hygiene that have caused a stir. It's the deep-rooted issues surrounding her lifestyle that have the internet talking. The conversation has evolved beyond simple shock value to touch on serious topics like mental health support in Japan, the ethics of social media consumption, and the fine line between entertainment and exploitation. She's gained millions of views for doing things like cooking with cockroaches crawling around her hot plate or brushing her teeth on the streets, all receiving an overwhelming amount of donations and gifts from fans. The cockroaches, which she affectionately refers to as G's, have become supporting characters in her ongoing drama, appearing with such regularity that viewers have started recognizing individual ones. It's perhaps the first time in social media history that vermin have developed their own fan following. However, the most disturbing aspect of her personality is the way she plays into her toxic online persona and uses her platform to gain attention without seeming to care about the consequences. It's a masterclass in what mental health professionals might call maladaptive coping mechanisms, broadcast live to hundreds of thousands of followers who can't seem to look away.
このような感じでですね、360、24時間ね、部屋からいろんな音が聞こえます。ここ上京してから数年間住んでる部屋です。逆に私はこの部屋にしか住んだことないです。なんかね、あとね、壁薄いのかな知らないけど、なんかすごいね、玄関のドア越しからもうなんか、物音とか。
On the other hand, she's been openly dismissive about her living conditions and mental health struggles, even sharing her most intimate moments with her audience in a way that feels both vulnerable and somehow calculated. It's not just the mess or the strange interactions with her followers that have drawn the internet's ire. Her reckless attitude towards her living situation, including allowing bugs to crawl on her food and casually talking about things like her eviction or lack of hygiene, raises many questions. What makes this even more complicated is that she seems to know exactly what she's doing. When fewer people are watching her videos, she'll show something new about her messy living space or get people talking again. This makes people wonder, is she really struggling this much? Or is she just putting on a show for views? Nobody knows for sure, but people can't stop watching and wondering, why does she refuse to accept help? Why is she so comfortable living in squalor and sharing it so openly online? The answers to these questions seem to lie in a complex web of personal history, mental health challenges, and the addictive nature of social media attention. In this video, we'll dive deep into the story of Saikyo-Chan and unpack some of the most disturbing aspects of her TikTok career. From her chaotic cooking videos and unsanitary living conditions, to her strange interactions with followers, let's explore why she's become a figure of both fascination and disgust on social media. Who is Saikyo-Chan? Allow me to introduce you to Saikyo-Chan, a Japanese TikTok sensation who has turned the internet upside down with her, shall we say, unique lifestyle. Imagine the grimy chaos of a post-apocalyptic video game mixed with the relentless optimism of someone who genuinely believes their eviction notice doubles as a fashion statement. That's Saikyo-Chan in a nutshell. A self-proclaimed rot princess who has embraced her messy, chaotic existence and shared it with the world. Saikyo first stumbled into the limelight with a TikTok video of her cooking cheap, nearly expired food in her cockroach-infested apartment that went viral. This wasn't your average budget cooking tips content. It was a live-action survival horror. The video ignited a firestorm of reactions ranging from morbid fascination to outright nausea.
今日はこちらを掃除します。ここは私最長ちゃんのお部屋。こちらユニットバスでして、こんな感じで3つつながってるんだよね。3つ同じ1箇所に同じなの。でね、今足も怪我してるから衛生的にしたいし、ね、こんな状況だとなんかお風呂入るんだってね、せっかくこうやってお風呂で入ってさ、きれいにしてもこんなね床汚れてたらなんか、ね、意味ある系になっちゃうから、意味あるのかなってね疑問がね一生の頭にね残りそうなんで、お掃除しちゃいましょう。ということでお掃除動画撮ります。まずはゴミごとミーゴをね回収、ミーゴ回収。あ、これ100円ショップのねブルー手袋、水色かわいいでしょとか言って。あ、何これめっちゃへばりついてるやん。何これ、なんかめっちゃベタベタしてるんですけど、ヤマタニエンですね。何これ、ミミズかと思った。ホワイトミミズ。まあ洋服の紐っすね。これパーカーの紐だった気がする。これ何、これ濡れてんだけど昨日、なんか濡れてる、やだー。でもゴミがいっぱい。ほら、ぬるぬるスルスル、これゴミだよね。ほこりの塊かな。ほら、なんかビニール袋なんだけど、でこの紫のお掃除道具でなんかね上京してからね置いてあったの、勝手に。なんか待って、これも確かパーカーの紐かな。待って、パーカーの紐何個あんねん。私によくパーカー着てる。多分一番持ってる洋服パーカーだからね。パーカー10代の頃からよく着るの。あ、引きこもりだからか。パーカーは引きこもりの制服やもんね、多分。ちょい待って、これ邪魔だから、だから一時的にここに置きます。ずっとじゃないよ。よーし。これね100均で買ったお掃除用の除菌ウェットシートだし、待って、後で見せるか。大体基本100円ショップで買ってますね、日用品。よくさ、お料理とかでね、電気鍋で使ってる、お料理の電気鍋で使ってるウェットティッシュも100円ショップのやつだし、ダイソーのかなだし、これも100円ショップで、これ二重になってるね。100円ショップだから、待って、これ二重にしてるからどんどん落ちてくわ。基本だから節約とコスパ重視で100均です。この子頑固ね、全然通れないんですけど、このところのなんかおすすめの掃除用品とかそういう用品あったらコメント欄に。マジで全然取れない。何これ、しぶといぞ。限界突破。ここら辺もしぶとい。ほんと全然落ちない。もうね時間経っちゃってるけど、もう何ヶ月もお掃除しないからね。多分汚れが固まってしまったのかも、多分。ほら、これマジでここマジで取れんもん。ほらね、これもさっき残ったやつ。結構力入れて拭いたんだ。ストレス発散、ストレスぶつけろ。この辺もね、こんなに汚れ取れた。さっきよりちょっと綺麗になったくない？これ使ってんの？取れたわ、さっきの仕事も。こういうところも拭きますか。こういうところもね普段掃除しないからついでに掃除しようじゃん。 前から言ってんだけどさ、ここお掃除どうしよう。この黒いなんか溝、排水口詰まりみたいなやつ。なんか結構ここお水詰まりやすいし、なんかこの黒い物体何そもそも。これだよこれなんだべ。わあ、くよ。何これ、ほら見て、ほら水溜まってるでしょ、ほら。こういうね、硬くなった固まったこのなんだ汚れの取り方もコメント欄に。はい、綺麗になりましたとさ。こっちは昨日ね、新しく買ったハイターで、久しぶりにね、ハイターで数分間置いといて除菌しといた。
And if that wasn't enough to secure her internet fame, she followed it up by nonchalantly frying cockroaches. Yes, she calls them G's, as if they're her uninvited roommates rather than literal pests. The sight of her casually referring to them like old buddies before tossing them into the frying pan was equally parts horrifying and oddly captivating. Now, here's one thing about Saikyo. She's not just a walking train wreck, she's a magnet for attention. With over 330,000 followers and millions of views on her videos, she's clearly struck a chord with the internet. People can't look away, even when they want to. It's the ultimate guilty pleasure, a mix of horror, fascination, and an irrational hope that maybe, just maybe, she'll turn things around. Will Saikyo embrace the good ending and use her newfound fame to clean up her life and become the influencer waifu so many of her fans dream of? Or will she double down on her chaotic lifestyle, cooking more G's and spiraling further into internet infamy? At this point, it's anyone's guess, but one thing's for sure. Saikyo-Chan isn't going anywhere, except maybe back to the landlord's office to pick up another eviction notice. Watch this video, for instance, where she uploaded to her TikTok on Christmas Day. In this video, she's seen making beef that seems rotten while playing Christmas songs in the background. And no one can even miss the roaches in the packs as she picks them away. While most people were posting their perfectly decorated Christmas trees and meticulously plated holiday dinners, Saikyo-Chan decided to celebrate the season by cooking what appeared to be a questionably aged beef while blasting Christmas carols. It's like a twisted version of a holiday cooking show where food safety is merely a suggestion and the roaches are the unofficial taste testers. In fact, one of her most viewed videos with a massive 21.1 million views on TikTok is only about nothing significant but her making noodles with bloated meat while roaches can be seen in the background walking around. The video was shot in July 2024 and might have been the beginning of her popularity online, because no one can in fact say what keeps people coming back to her page.
Oh.
The video is like a masterclass in how to break every food safety rule while maintaining the enthusiasm of a cooking show host. Watching it feels like you're witnessing a cooking show where Gordon Ramsay's worst nightmares came to life and decided to start a YouTube channel. But despite all this, her fanbase continues to grow at an unbelievably fast pace. On August 8th, 2024, she celebrated reaching 100,000 followers, a milestone she commemorated in true Saikyo-Chan style. She even made a video of this achievement for her ROT followers, where she cooked while her loyal roach army performed their synchronized crawling routine in the background. Astonishingly, in just 2 weeks, her account had already doubled in size, showing just how quickly she's gaining attention, and now she's even tripled the figure. She's become widely recognized for her unconventional and chaotic lifestyle, which many believe is a result of her unaddressed mental health issues. While she's not been officially diagnosed, her behavior and living conditions have sparked concern and fascination. Living in an apartment infested with cockroaches, she seems to have embraced her unsettling environment, taking what many call rotting to an entirely new level. Some rot simps have even went further and started referring to her as their rot princess. If you can't imagine how dirty and unconventional her lifestyle is, just see this video where she uploaded showing the condition of her home and the kind of sanitary practices she employs, or rather doesn't employ. This isn't your typical messy room tour.
マジで無理なんだけど。大きすぎ、でかすぎ、やばすぎ共和国。大きすぎ共和国、でかすぎ共和国、やばすぎ共和国。待って、カブトムシかと思った。待って、これは無理。私本当はお虫苦手なんだよね。シムシム苦手だからきっちいわ。待って、窓から入ってきたかな。ドアから入ってきた。やばくないこれ。G カブトどっち。あれ、いやさすがに毎日 G 見てて、でもともと初めて東京で見た時とかもう私もヤーって叫んだけどね。で毎日 G 見るようになってから、まあ触るのは無理だけど見るのはね何も思わなくなったの慣れたのね。だけど今の大きささすがに今ちょっと叫んだ。普通に私久しぶりに G 見て叫びましたわ。だって一瞬カブトムシかと思ったもん。カブトムシサイズ G。待って、どうやってなんだろう、自分の見守る方法をコメント欄に。サイジョちゃんはこのビッグ G から自分自身の見守る方法をコメント欄に。待って、さすがにきちい。毎日 G 見てるサイジョちゃんでもね強敵かも。絶対負けたくない。
Her videos frequently showcase her unsanitary living conditions, from cooking on dirty surfaces surrounded by trash to candidly exposing the infestations in her home. Yet, instead of shying away from criticism, she leans into it, turning her bizarre and often shocking lifestyle into content that draws millions of views. This combination of shock value, vulnerability, and unapologetic authenticity is fueling her rapid rise in popularity, making her one of TikTok's most controversial and talked about creators. Despite the backlash, her growing follower count proves that people can't seem to look away from her chaotic world. Despite having gained popularity for her bizarre antics and content, her actions raise concerns regarding her mental health and personal choices. In her videos, she often addresses her mental health issues, but rather than seeking help, she continues to live in unclean conditions and flaunt her lack of care for hygiene. Whether she's brushing her teeth on the street or playing with her teddy bears that she's wrapped in plastic, it's clear that Saikyo-Chan has become both a spectacle and a source of fascination for many. Saikyo-Chan hasn't probably always been like this, but as far as we know, early 2024, nobody knew her. And her first content was in March, but it was dramatic. It gave off no irk. Her chaotic lifestyle only took a dramatic turn when her landlord attempted to evict her from her apartment, or rather decided enough was enough. Given the shocking state of her apartment, it's hardly surprising that eviction was on the table. Her home was a biohazard zone, infested with cockroaches, and reportedly causing a stink, literally, for her neighbors and nearby businesses. Yet, that's only part of the story. In some of her earlier videos, she made videos of herself dancing in her apartment. The rooms seemed like a disposal center and looked so unkempt, even though these still seem a lot better compared to what became of her many months later.
Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body.
Recently, Saikyo's journey has taken a darker turn. On Twitter, some people have created an account to help their princess, as the account has addressed her, take donations. And they even asked her to reach out, but I doubt she did. Oh, and let's not forget the drama with her landlord. In one TikTok, Saikyo gleefully mocked her landlord by showing off eviction notices, much to the dismay of the other tenants, who apparently banded together to write her a collective GTFO note. It's like a soap opera, except instead of a cheating lover, the antagonist is a swarm of cockroaches plotting a coup in her kitchen. Imagine the most cluttered space you've ever seen, then multiply that by 1,000. Add some uninvited six-legged roommates, and sprinkle in a complete disregard for basic hygiene. That's just the beginning of what we're dealing with here. The situation reached new heights of absurdity when her landlord attempted to evict her. Given the shocking state of her apartment, it's hardly surprising. Her home wasn't just messy, it was a biohazard zone, infested with cockroaches, and reportedly causing problems for her neighbors and nearby businesses. But here's where things get really interesting. Instead of addressing the situation like most people would, by cleaning up or paying rent, Saikyo-Chan decided to turn her eviction notices into fashion statements. She wore them like accessories. Let that sink in for a moment. In this clip, you can see she was outside eating in a public place with her eviction notice stamped on her cloth like some sort of accessory. Sometimes she'd pair this with a carefree dance in the street or a casual sushi outing, acting completely unfazed by the growing pile of legal documents demanding she leave. Here's a clip of her eating in a public place with her eviction notice stamped on her cloth like some sort of avant-garde fashion statement.
Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body body boom boom. Hey boogie oogie bang bang, let's go body body boom boom.
So what's a girl to do when life hands her nothing but trauma and eviction notices? Apparently, she decides to dance in public with those eviction notices taped to her body. Because why let shame hold you back when you can weaponize it for content? The thing about Saikyo is that she's not just messy, she's weaponizing her messiness. Her apartment is like a social experiment on how far humans can devolve before they officially qualify as cryptids. Between her teddy bears sealed in plastic bags to protect them from the roaches, naturally, and her DIY beauty hacks that involve smearing rice powder on her unwashed hair, she's practically invented a new genre of content: extreme TikTok minimalism. Yet despite all this, Saikyo still manages to look somewhat put together. It's almost disorienting. One minute you're watching her fry cockroaches, and the next she's looking so kawaii that you start to question if this is all some high-concept performance art. Are we the joke here? Is she the Banksy of TikTok? Some netizens pointed out that evicting tenants in Japan can be a notoriously long and difficult process, as courts often side with tenants. But in her case, it's hard to imagine any court would take her side. In one TikTok video, she casually mentioned that she had lived in the apartment for about a year and a half, paying only 900,000 yen, approximately $6,000 during that time. Considering Tokyo's notoriously high rents, it might seem like a steal, until you factor in the lack of payments and the state of the unit. And yet, despite being behind on rent, she would post videos of herself buying and trying out new makeup products, showcasing a life that screamed, "I'm not paying and I don't care." Allegedly, her apartment was so bad that neighboring units couldn't even be rented out because of the overwhelming stench and a growing cockroach problem. Businesses below her apartment were also affected, with pests invading their premises due to her living conditions. The situation escalated further when her neighbors left a strongly worded notice in the mailbox area, demanding she leave within 6 months or face legal action. Instead of taking responsibility, she was enraged, claiming that the note exposed her personal information, including her full name and address. Ironically, she then posted the entire note on TikTok for her followers to see, inadvertently exposing herself even further. Commenters couldn't help but suggest she clean her apartment instead of causing more drama.
今日さ、燃えるおゴミの日だったから、お掃除かくゴミ出しするためにさ、朝さ、外出たらさ、こんな風にこんなところにこんなの貼ってあった。 個人情報である名前、フルネームさ、何度もね、書かれてさらされてるし、だってね、このね、いろんな人が見るところに貼られてるからね、こういう公共のね、なんだろう、マンションの場所でね、またね、で、なんだろう、他にも。
But the breaking point came when her landlord issued an ultimatum: clean up the apartment and stop making TikTok videos or face eviction. Naturally, she didn't comply. One day, she returned to find her key no longer worked. In a TikTok video, she dramatically demonstrated how her key couldn't even fit into the lock anymore, implying that someone had sabotaged it. Comparing it to her neighbor's lock, she confirmed that something had been jammed into hers. Locked out of her apartment, it was clear her landlord had finally taken action.
今、犯罪の被害に受けてる緊急事態です。今、家帰ってきて、鍵開けようとしたら、なんかこれ、なんか多分、なんか、あるはかな、なんか多分嫌がらせで、これ、ほら。だって、試しにこれ隣の部屋の鍵なんだけど、こっちはって入ることはできる。ほら、開くことはできないけど、ね、なんだろう。動くから。
After being locked out, Saikyo-Chan's story took an unexpected turn into what we might call the clean chapter. Though like all clean chapters in this saga, it was destined to be brief. She temporarily stayed in what appeared to be a surprisingly clean and cozy hotel room. The internet collectively held its breath. Could this be the turning point? Was this the redemption arc everyone had been waiting for? In true TikTok fashion, she wasted no time uploading videos, including one where she reviewed instant noodles from a Family Mart convenience store.
円柱だけどこっちがゼロか。糖質ゼロらしいが、こういうことね、そういうことね。ではこれからもう開けちゃった。水切りしました。ゴミ箱。おい。いただき、真夏。やっぱり安定にもちろん美味しい共和国でした。お次はこれ。これはね、水切り不要らしい。ほら。
During this brief interlude of cleanliness, she seemed almost like a different person. She even made a video where she went shopping for clothes with the caption, "My house key was broken," an understatement so massive it deserves its own category in the Guinness Book of World Records.
すごい。このお洋服、2000円以下。買っちゃおうかな。買いたいです。買いたいと思う。色違いでグレーもあった。なんと。これ、なんか2色あります。
She later showed her followers that her beloved teddy bears had made it to the hotel with her, much to the relief of her audience. But just as her fans began to wonder what her next move would be, she suddenly reappeared in a new living situation, leaving everyone curious and captivated by what would happen next. Back at her apartment, it's business as usual, but not without a dose of chaos and controversy. Allegedly, during a live stream, she managed to get back into her locked apartment with the help of a man outside a muscle bar. But the confusion only became more when she posted a video showing a pink slip from a notifier requesting her to pay a particular debt before August 2024, or she may have to face legal proceedings. She didn't seem concerned, and some of her followers were forced to ask the question, how did she even get back in?
今日も今日とて世にも恐ろしい郵便物が届きました。開けてみると、このような白用紙が最終抽出として書かれています。最終抽出書っていう多分書類初めて届いたわ。恐ろしいことが起きるの？
But wait, because the story takes yet another wild turn. In what could only be described as a heist movie subplot, Saikyo-Chan somehow managed to get back into her locked apartment. The details are murky, but allegedly during a live stream, she got help from a mysterious man outside a muscle bar. It's like Ocean's 11, but instead of breaking into a casino, they're breaking into an apartment that most people would break out of. Instead of addressing the situation head-on, she turned to her audience, asking for advice on what to do. Predictably, many suggested the obvious, just pay it off. Yet she continues to ignore this advice, as though paying rent isn't even on the table. Since her triumphant return, she's resumed her regular content as if nothing ever happened. She's back to making food, testing out random products, and dancing amidst the cockroach-infested chaos. She kept sharing videos of herself preparing a fruit smoothie and cooking gyoza, seemingly unbothered by her living conditions or the growing list of issues she faces. Interestingly, people who have sent her money and gifts report that she rarely uses them for anything meaningful. Instead, she allegedly spends these contributions on frivolous items or other non-essentials, leaving her debt and her situation unchanged. This behavior has led many to question her priorities, with some viewers outright baffled by her apparent lack of responsibility. Despite, or perhaps because of her antics, she's only gained more traction online. Her growing audience seems both fascinated and frustrated by her chaotic lifestyle, tuning in to watch what she'll do next. The saga is a blend of drama, absurdity, and unbothered antics that has kept viewers hooked. Love her or hate her, it's impossible to deny that her chaotic life continues to dominate the TikTok spotlight. Whether she's blending fruit for smoothies, dancing in her cluttered apartment, or sharing yet another cryptic piece of mail, one thing is certain: she's mastered the art of turning dysfunction into entertainment. The question remains, how long can she keep this up before the consequences finally catch up to her? Despite the growing attention and the resources at her disposal, she isn't taking steps to improve her situation. She kept buying different products for comparison online and left her problems unattended to.
いろいろなチーズ発見。これも気になるから全種類食べたいな。ほれ、全種なんか買ってきたぜ。全種類全部食べまーす。この20年以上なってないかうどんで全部チーズ7種類紹介するね。まずはね、ルーベリーことブルーベリー。レーズンのラム。これ楽しみ。夏のロメン。モレン。ナバーバー。
Many people note that she often outright refuses offers of help. Even with a steady stream of income from her TikTok account, she remains stuck in the same chaotic environment, raising questions about whether the money is being used effectively or at all to address her needs. Just when you thought you'd seen everything in the Saikyo-Chan universe, she decided to revolutionize the beauty industry, though not in a way anyone asked for or wanted. After reportedly not washing her hair for 2 weeks, a detail that somehow isn't even close to the most shocking thing in this story, our innovative influencer decided to conduct what she called a scientific experiment. In one of her bizarre videos, she features herself experimenting with DIY methods to clean her hair. In this particular clip, she tests rice powder, cake powder, and pancake powder to see which works best as a substitute for shampoo.
2週間お風呂入ってない髪の毛はどの粉で一番サラサラになるのか実証。レッツ検証。この粉たちでレッツ検証タイム。米粉、なんかね、お米って万能なイメージがあるんだよ。串につけた。あ、でもちょっとさらってなった。すごい、お米の力。ホットケーキミックス。美味しそう、かわいい。口につけすぎた。
Viewers flocked to the comments, baffled and urging her to buy actual dry shampoo, especially considering the donations she receives. The experiment in question? Testing rice powder, cake powder, and pancake powder to see which works best as a substitute for shampoo. It's like watching a cooking show accidentally stumble into a beauty tutorial, with results that would make both professional chefs and hairstylists cry.
態。で、今ね、家にあった。間ね、昔ね、コンカフェガルパ担入したり、キャバクラの面接受けまくってた時ね、キャバクラの面接1日5回以上受けたことあるんだけど、その時に買ったやつ、よくね、髪の毛ペタペタなんて言われること多かったから、とりあえず買ったやつだ。で、それお家にあったのね、使ってみる。Let's party! ホームホームこれ使ったことあったのかもなくなりそうになった今。いい香りする。固まってんな、このやつ。どうなんだろう、待って、根元に結構。
She even managed to attend pre-launch events for beauty products. Yes, you heard that correctly. The same person who would later experiment with pancake mix as a hair care was attending professional beauty industry events. It's like watching someone who's never seen a car getting invited to a Formula One race.
新色と限定色。新色、限定色。じゃあ早速購入したわよ。買えたわよ。ということで買ってきました。新色のラベンダーの限定色。
And most of her fans can't withhold their concern, hoping she gets the help she needs as soon as possible. But is it that she's not getting offers? She is, but she outright refuses help, like I said before. Her TikTok is also filled with a wide array of peculiar content. For instance, she frequently posts videos of herself dancing either in public or at home, often accompanied by singing a cappella or performing karaoke at a bar. Another common theme in her videos involves her stuffed teddy bears. What stands out is that the bears are frequently seen wrapped in plastic bags, leading netizens to speculate that this is her way of preventing them from getting dirty, a contrast to her otherwise unkempt living situation.
Saikyo-Chan、俺も好きだもんね。干し芋よく食べたりとかしたもんね。来ました。
The heart of Saikyo-Chan's online presence beats strongest during her infamous TikTok live streams, where reality television meets digital age chaos in its purest form. These broadcasts have become must-watch events for thousands of viewers, each session more unpredictable than the last. What starts as a simple live stream often evolves into hours-long spectacles that keep viewers glued to their screens, unable to look away from the unfolding drama. Her live streaming journey took a significant turn when she began collaborating with other creators, transforming her solo shows into something akin to a digital variety show gone wrong. These interactions often spiral into unexpected directions, with other creators either playing along with her eccentricities or becoming visibly uncomfortable from the situation they found themselves in. Some collaborators appear genuinely concerned, while others seem to view her as content gold, eager to tap into her growing notoriety. The milestone she achieved on August 20th, reaching 13,000 concurrent viewers, speaks volumes about the magnetic pull of her content. This wasn't just a random spike in viewership, it represented a culmination of months of increasingly erratic behavior and escalating drama. When she shared this achievement in her TikTok story, her pride was palpable. For her, these numbers weren't just statistics, they were validation, proof that people cared about her story, regardless of their reasons for watching. During these live sessions, the chat becomes a fascinating study in human behavior. Comments range from genuine concern to cruel mockery, with everything in between. Some viewers sent her gifts constantly, their digital tokens raining across the screen like confetti at a particularly dystopian party. These broadcasts often feature impromptu tours of her living space, each one revealing new layers of chaos. Viewers have witnessed everything from her unusual cooking experiments, often involving questionable food safety practices, to late-night rambles about her life situation. The comments section during these moments becomes a mix of horror, fascination, and dark humor, with some viewers treating it like a twisted reality show, while others express genuine concern for her well-being. What makes these live streams particularly compelling is their unpredictable nature. One moment she might be calmly discussing her daily routine, and the next, she's engaged in a heated argument with an unseen neighbor or breaking down in tears over her latest crisis. The raw, unfiltered nature of these broadcasts provides viewers with an unvarnished look at her life, for better or worse. The recent revelation about her electricity being cut off due to owing 1.3 million yen, approximately $8,700, was met with a collective shrug from her audience. This reaction, or lack thereof, speaks volumes about how normalized her chaos has become.
電気が使えない状態です。メーカーは落ちてないし、落としてないです。こんな感じで、電気ホットプレートと電気鍋を用意しているのですが、このようにコンセントを挿しても、スマホの充電も、できませぬ。このような感じにハガキが来ていたので、洗いはしました。カーテンが剥がれている分日当たりはいいので、こんな感じで日中は光があって明るいから特に大丈夫って感じです。お電気がなくて困っているのは、こういう電気系でお料理できないのと、夜は
Her viewers have become so accustomed to these escalating crises that even something as serious as losing power barely registers as surprising anymore. The fact that she chose to share this news via video, turning even this basic utility crisis into content, exemplifies how every aspect of her life has become part of the show. Her live streams have developed their own unique rhythm and recurring elements. Regular viewers know to expect certain patterns. The late-night confessionals where she shares increasingly personal details about her life, the impromptu dance sessions that seem to come out of nowhere, and the periodic emotional breakdowns that leave audiences wondering whether they're witnessing performance art or genuine distress. The financial dynamics of these streams are particularly fascinating. While viewers regularly send her digital gifts that convert to real money, her financial situation continues to deteriorate. The disconnect between her online income and her real-world financial management raises questions about how she's utilizing these resources. Perhaps the most concerning is how these live streams seem to reinforce her isolation from reality. The virtual world has become her primary source of social interaction, with real-world relationships taking a back seat to her digital audience. She often speaks about her viewers as if they're close friends, sharing intimate details of her life, while seeming to forget that these are strangers watching through screens. The comment sections during her live have evolved into their own ecosystem. Regular viewers have developed a complex system of inside jokes and references, creating a sense of community around her chaos. Some viewers take on self-appointed roles: the advice givers, the defenders, the critics, and the documentarians who clip and archive every significant moment. When she broadcasts late into the night, which is increasingly common, the streams take on an almost surreal quality. The combination of poor lighting, her deteriorating living conditions, and her often stream-of-consciousness monologues creates an atmosphere that viewers describe as both compelling and unsettling. These late-night sessions often attract a different crowd than her daytime streams, with viewers from various time zones creating a 24/7 cycle of engagement with her content. The fact that none of her supporters were surprised by the electricity crisis reveals a darker truth about this digital spectacle. Her audience has become desensitized to her decline, treating each new crisis as just another episode in an ongoing series. The line between entertainment and enablement has become increasingly blurred, with viewers unsure whether their continued engagement is helping or harming her. What started as simple live streams have evolved into a complex phenomenon that raises questions about social media, mental health, and the responsibility of digital communities. As her viewer count continues to grow and her situations become increasingly precarious, the question remains: what role do these thousands of viewers play in her story? And what responsibility, if any, do they bear for its outcome? For now, the tea is that she's leaning into the attention, whether it's supportive or critical, and showing no signs of stepping back from the spotlight. As her following grows, so does the curiosity about what's next for her, be it another viral live stream or yet another unconventional solution to her everyday struggles. But the most concerning thing, I guess, is who Saikyo-Chan, the strongest, is behind the TikTok videos. Is this all for attention, or is there something truly more troubling going on? Let's take a closer look and find out the unsettling truths behind her chaotic social media presence. Personally, I've spent countless hours following the fascinating and often heartbreaking story of Saikyo-Chan, and I feel compelled to share my thoughts on what has become one of social media's most captivating and complex narratives. What initially drew me in as a curious observer has evolved into a deep concern for someone whose life has become an unprecedented form of digital performance art. In the YouTube interview that she did, Saikyo-Chan revealed layers of her past that would make anyone's heart ache. As someone who has worked with troubled youth, I couldn't help but recognize the familiar patterns of trauma in her words and body language. Her childhood reads like a cautionary tale about the impact of emotional neglect. Growing up in an environment where parents consistently undermined her self-worth, she developed what psychologists often call learned helplessness. I've seen this before, when young people internalize negative messages so deeply that they struggle to break free from them even years later. The constant belittling at home created a perfect storm when combined with relentless school bullying, leaving her without a single safe space to develop healthy self-esteem. What strikes me most about her story is the financial instability that plagued her family. Having worked with families in crisis, I recognize how economic stress can amplify existing emotional tensions. It's like watching a house of cards wobble. Each new financial pressure threatens to bring the entire structure crashing down. For young Saikyo-Chan, this meant growing up in an environment where both emotional and material security were luxury items that her family couldn't afford. The breakdown of her family relationships is particularly poignant. The gradual distancing from her parents seems almost inevitable given their history, but the lost connection with her grandmother hints at a deeper tragedy. Often grandparents can serve as emotional anchors for children from troubled homes. The dissolution of this relationship represents yet another support system crumbling away. Her mental health crisis at 16 marks a crucial turning point in her story. The year she spent in an institution, which she describes with raw honesty, reveals the severity of her struggles. As someone who has supported friends through similar experiences, I recognize the toll that institutional care can take, especially on a developing mind. The isolation, the disconnection from normal teenage life, and the struggle with basic self-care paint a picture of someone fighting battles most of us can barely imagine. What fascinates me about Saikyo-Chan's current online presence is how it seems to both mask and reveal her past trauma. Her content often walks a tightrope between performance and cry for help. Take, for instance, her infamous germaphobe video. While many viewers quickly pointed out the apparent contradiction with her living conditions, I see something more complex at play. Could this be a manifestation of control-seeking behavior, common in those who've experienced childhood chaos? The financial aspect of her story particularly troubles me. Having followed her content for months, I've witnessed countless live streams where supporters shower her with monetary gifts. The disconnect between these income streams and her persistent financial struggles raises red flags about potential exploitation, both self-imposed and external. Her dream of becoming an influencer or entertainer adds another layer of complexity to this narrative. In my experience working with young content creators, I've seen how the desire for validation through social media can become all-consuming. For someone with Saikyo-Chan's background, the instant gratification of online attention might serve as a temporary bandage for deeper wounds. What's particularly striking is her approach to content creation. The rage bait videos, while troubling, showcase a keen understanding of social media algorithms and human psychology. It's as if she's turned her trauma into a performance art piece, but at what cost to her mental health and personal development? The living conditions she showcases in her content have become almost legendary in certain corners of the internet. While some viewers treat it as entertainment, I can't help but see it as a manifestation of deeper issues. The roach-infested environment, the unpaid rent, the general chaos. These aren't just content fodder. They're a cry for help wrapped in viral packaging. I mean, imagine making eggs in this kind of environment. It's brought up so many questions regarding the state of her mind. Maybe she's even unaware of all she's doing.
これなんだ共和国？私最長ちゃんの昼ご飯、前ランチ。このホットプレートさ、置く場所ないからさ、こうやってこんな感じでここに置いてお料理してるんだよね。で、ここで食べてんの。で、ここで食べてる、最長ちゃん。こんな感じで部屋座りしてお料理したり、お食事してるの。こんな感じ。てか髪型もやっ
As someone who's worked in community support, I'm particularly troubled by the way her audience's well-meaning assistance seems to enable rather than help. The monetary gifts and support, while given with good intentions, appear to feed into a cycle of dependency rather than promoting positive change. It's a classic case of how support without structure can sometimes do more harm than good. Looking ahead, I see both hope and concern in Saikyo-Chan's trajectory. Her resilience is remarkable. Surviving her past traumas and managing to build a significant online following shows incredible strength. However, the path she's on currently seems unsustainable both personally and professionally. What we're witnessing is more than just another social media spectacle. It's a real-time case study in the intersection of trauma, digital culture, and human psychology. As her audience, we bear some responsibility in how this story unfolds. Every view, every comment, every donation either pushes her toward healing or enables further dysfunction. From my perspective, the solution isn't as simple as sending money or posting supportive comments. What Saikyo-Chan needs is a comprehensive support system, professional help, financial guidance, and perhaps most importantly, a way to separate her authentic self from her online persona. The question that keeps me up at night is, how can we as an online community help someone who has turned their trauma into content? Is there a way to break through the digital barrier and provide meaningful support? Or are we just participants in a modern tragedy playing out in real time on our screens? For those of us who continue to follow her journey, perhaps the most important thing we can do is maintain our humanity and empathy while engaging with her content. Behind the viral videos and controversial posts is a real person with real struggles, deserving of real help. The challenge lies in finding ways to provide that help without perpetuating the cycle that keeps her trapped in her current circumstances. Today, Saikyo-Chan continues to captivate and concern her growing audience in equal measure. Despite or perhaps because of her antics, she's only gained more traction online. Her growing audience seems both fascinated and frustrated by her chaotic lifestyle, tuning in to watch what she'll do next. What started as a shocking glimpse into one person's unusual lifestyle has evolved into a broader conversation about social media culture, mental health awareness, and the fine line between entertainment and exploitation. Saikyo-Chan's story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about our role as viewers and content consumers. One thing's certain. Whether she's cooking with her roach roommates, experimenting with unconventional beauty treatments, or turning eviction notices into fashion statements, Saikyo-Chan has carved out her own unique niche in the vast landscape of social media. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of all. In a world of carefully curated content and picture-perfect influencers, here's someone who's gained fame by doing exactly the opposite.